All right, everybody. Welcome to Dave's Man Cave. Hit like, hit subscribe, leave some comments, good or bad, whatever. Doesn't matter. Just help the algorithm, help a brother out. So, what are we looking at today? Well, we've already done a Breitling review, and now we're doing Tudor. So, this is a watch I have lusted after forever. It's a fantastic watch, very cool company, part of the Rolex brand. Used to be known as the poor man's Rolex. Rolex people will probably still make that claim. A lot of people now are saying it's the smart man's Rolex. You're getting similar quality, you're getting similar materials and all that stuff. But you walk in and they're happy to see you. They don't have to know you. They will befriend you. They will show you what they have. And if you say, you know what, I'd like that, they'll ask you, how would you like to pay for that? Not, well, buy a bunch of jewelry you don't want, buy a watch you don't want, and maybe if you're lucky and you play your cards right, I'll call you in 3 years and I'll sell you the watch that you want, right? That's the problem with Rolex. I understand their whole game of exclusivity and, well, if I tell you you can't have it, then you're going to want it even more. I get all that. And clearly it does work for them. They do sell, make a lot of money selling watches. But I wonder if sometimes that won't backfire at some point, Sometimes people move on and rich collectors die off, older people with money and stuff. And at some point, if you don't let new people into the brand, I don't know, maybe that'll backfire. Maybe it won't. Maybe I'm wrong. But what do we have from Tudor? I have loved their Black Bay. My wife picked up a Tudor as well. She got the 1926, which is in a woman's size, I think a 36. Very, very cool watch. I went for the Tudor, and I went for the new Black Bay 68. I think that came out in 2025. So let's open the box here. This is the watch in question. If you want to see the reference number and the model number and all that stuff. Comes in a nice Tudor box. You got a little cubby here for the extra links. I did take out 3 links for my 7.3-inch wrist. You got your warranty card and all that stuff. It's got a 5-year international warranty. The dealer filled out and turned on for me. Nice little case. Beautiful bracelet. This thing is awesome. So, let's get all this stuff out of the way. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the watch. It has a METAS, METAS certification, so I guess that's a step up from your COSC certification. So it qualifies it as a master chronometer. Let's see. Let's see if we can find the specs here on their website. I was scrolling through and all that stuff. So, all right, here we go. What we've got, 5-year guarantee with no registration or periodic maintenance checks required. So the first 5 years, you're covered for whatever. Very cool. It has a 43 millimeter stainless steel case with polished and satin finishes. You've got a lug width of 22, case thickness of 13.6, which is a millimeter thicker than the Breitling Super Ocean 44 that I reviewed and will be able to see on my channel any moment. Even though that's a 44 and a bigger watch, this is actually a millimeter thicker. However, this has a 70-hour power reserve. Very, very nice. Versus the 38 on, most watches, including the Breitling. Your winding crown has your Tudor logo. It is a screw-down crown, but you get your Tudor rose relief there. Waterproofness. Unlike the Breitling, this is only 200 meters, but that's just fine by me. You have a 60-click unidirectional bezel. Very, very nice. It's a little softer. It takes a little more effort than the Breitling. The Breitling's a little taller and a little grabbier. This one, when your hand's wet, I notice it's a little, it looks nice, but the jimping here is not quite as sharp. So you do have to pinch it a little bit more with your fingertips because your hands, when they're wet, especially with salt water, could slide a little bit. You've got a sun-brushed Tudor blue, domed. You've got applied hour markers. Dome sapphire crystal that does sit just a little bit proud. So it's not recessed, so you want to be careful you don't smack it. And you've got your 3-link oyster-ish, let's say, bracelet that is brushed. However, the sides are nice and polished, but on this one they got rid of the faux rivets. I think it makes it look a little classier, more elegant, even though the rivets might have made it look a little more robust and tool watchy. They didn't do anything to add to it, just for cosmetics. Let's go into this. Very, very nice clasp. Rolex-ish. Obviously, they're not copying the Rolex, but it is similar in how it looks and works. Very nice click without being overly like snap. Like the Longines of some of them, you almost like bust your thumbnail trying to pop it off. This, you have, just grab it by the sides. Nice, smooth click. You've got your Tudor logo right there. And all you got to do is that little point, just grab that with your thumbnail and then grab it from the sides and pull it up. This also has your quick adjust. So everything is up here and spring loaded. If you look up inside there and you pull this up and then out, or up and then in. And so you get about 5 or 7 millimeters of adjustment. Not as much as the Breitling. Breitling had 15 mil. A lot of adjustment. But very easily you can pull it in, or towards the center, and then move it in, move it out, and you can get that fit that you want. So if you put your watch on and you're like, oh, had a bunch of soy sauce last night with sushi, or hey, it's really cold in here, it's shrinking a little bit, but before I was out in the sun and it was humid, you go, oh, it's a little loose. Go ahead, take it off, micro adjust it, and there you go. I've got a 7.3 inch wrist. 43 is perfect for me. I used to have bigger watches. I won't go below a 40, but really 41 to 43 is the sweet spot. I will go down to a 40 or up to a 44 if I really like the watch and it wears well. But absolutely nice. The lugs, lug to lug on this, I don't know what that is. It doesn't list that. Some don't. But it's probably going to be somewhere out around 50 or 51 or something like that. It's not hanging off the wrist. Very, very comfortable. I've worn this all day. I've worn it in the pool, worn it in the ocean already. I already got a couple little fine scratches on it, but hey, it's part of owning a watch. This I got in Little Switzerland in St. Thomas. And couldn't get them to come down on the price. I did pay full retail, which was $54.75 or something like that. Yeah, $54.75. My wife bought one for around $24.50 for the smaller 1926 model. I was like, well, what can you do? And what they ended up doing was giving her a set of 14 or 18 karat gold studs with half carat diamond in each one. So 1 carat diamond set. They ended up throwing that in. It was like a $900 set of earrings. They're actually VS1, so decent quality and stuff like that. I think the color was E or something like that. So anyway, it looked really nice, but you got a set of earrings out of it. But I've always wanted the Black Bay. I think the Black Bay is so class. And I've tried on the 51. I'm sorry, the 50. Was it the 54? There's a 58. There's a bunch of different Black Bay models. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure what the differences are between all of them. But the 41 mil I could wear, but I was always like, you know what? If they had a 42 or 43, it would just fit my 7.3 inch wrist, but also I have very long arms because I'm a tall guy. I feel like it just sits more proportional. And they did. They listened. Not to me because I'm a nobody, but they did listen to the market. And apparently, it's been a good seller for them. This comes in this very cool blue dial, which, in a dark room, it looks black on black. When you get out in the sun, it explodes in this vivid blue with a kind of a sunburst effect on it. Just absolutely, absolutely fantastic. Went through all the specs. Let's look at the back and do some close-up shots and try to make this not drag on for 20 minutes like my Breitling one. Very simple, unadorned back. Perfect for engraving if you want. Nice, simple crown. Doesn't have a crown guard, but it's a nice, thick crown that does screw in very nicely. Like the Breitling, doesn't have a date. I love that. I don't need a date on the watch. It breaks up the continuity, and because we don't really need watches, right? You wear it because you glance at it instead of pulling out your phone, but you typically have a phone, or you're in the car, or your microwave's got a clock on it, your TV has a clock on it, your laptop or iPad has a clock on it. So we don't really buy these because we truly need a timepiece. We buy them because we love mechanical timepieces. We love the art, we love the craft, we love the male jewelry aspect. And so for me, the date, I don't need it. It breaks up the continuity of the dial. Half the time you can't read it if you're getting older and you need reading glasses for reading, like a number 2 font, if the lighting's not ideal. And at the end of the month, when you got 30 friggin' watches, you got to sit there and go in and reset all the dates on your watches and shit. I like not having the date. I just have to set the time. If for some reason, I didn't have it on the watch winder or whatever, all right, just give it a few winds, set the time, but I'm not dicking around with the date. It's one less thing to fiddle with. So I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. If you've always liked the Black Bay, but you always found them just a little small for your tastes, go check out the new Black Bay 68. At this time, they've only got the 2 colors. That's the only thing, is your choice will be limited to blue and like almost like a silvery kind of. It's not white. It's more like a silver, which has its own appeal. It's very nice and clean. Both are black bezels. I believe these bezels are aluminum, not ceramic, if that makes a difference to you. I don't mind the aluminum. It's a very nice, it gives it kind of like a, sort of like a matte, but not quite. There is a little bit of like a shimmer to it. But I don't know. It just looks really nice. Love the clasp. Love the bracelet. Very comfortable. This goes down to, I think, to a 16 or something. It's very narrow down here. So very, very comfy. It's a Tudor. You all know what Tudors are, right? I'm not breaking any new ground here. But it's an absolutely fantastic new iteration of this watch. I love that it's got the new chronometer, master chronometer certified movement. It is a Tudor in-house movement. I like that not a lot of the Tudors have that Tudor blue. Longines does a really good blue. So do these guys. So yeah, the caliber is the MT5601-U. Just a really, really nice timepiece. This just says class. The Breitling is the one that, really gets noticed from across the room because it's got that sky blue. I mean, it's a crazy, if you're a dial guy, it is a crazy dial. But I've seen these things worn with NATO straps. There's just something, it's like having an Omega Speedmaster. I would equate, even though that's a chronograph and this one isn't, but I would put it in that class of, class, right? You've got a watch that's in that rough price range. It's okay. The Omega's a little bit more, but you're still over $5,000. This is not an inexpensive watch, but it is attainable. This is an attainable watch for most people. I said it in the Breitling video. Some people may go, "Oh, $5,500 for a watch is crazy. That's insane." Yeah, that is a lot of money to a lot of people. It's frankly, I make good money, but it's still a lot of money to me to just throw down $5,000 on a watch, let alone 2 of them in the same week. Trust me, I felt that. But unless you're buying like an old beat up Sentra, like if you have a relatively new car, what's a new car cost these days? What's the average new car cost? $30,000? What's the average house cost? You want a TV, a MacBook, an iPad, a smartwatch. Everything costs money. For something that is true luxury, heirloom quality, this is a watch you will leave to your kids or your grandkids, right? This is not an Apple Watch that you're going to use. You spend, let's just say you get the Mac Daddy Titanium Pro, whatever. You get an $800 Apple Watch, and you're going to throw it in the trash in 3 years. And you're going to buy another one. And in 3 or 4 years, you're going to throw that one in the trash. Everything in our world is disposable. Things like this, the Breitling, a Rolex, Omega, even Casios and Seikos. I'm not pissing on I got those other brands too, right? Citizen. These are watches that will last you decades. When you step up to Rolex and Omega and Breitling and Tudor and Vacheron and Constantin and things like that, if you take care of these and you take them in for their service every 6, 7, whatever, 8 years, they start gaining or losing time, you take them in for a service, that costs money and stuff. But like a nice car, this is something that will last for generations. This is something that you will cherish. You know, when you pick it up, you remember the trip. You remember when you got that first big job. You bought it for yourself for your 30th anniversary, or you got it when you turned 50, or you know, whatever it is. You hit milestones in life, or you just go on a cool trip and you remember the vacation and the people you met out there, and you want something to remember that by. And that's where watches like this, yeah, it tells the same time as a freaking $80 Casio, right? But I think it's more than that. I think things like this, when you buy something that is quality, you have memories when you bought it, you have memories wearing it, you have interesting conversations. I met people on the cruise ship talking to Joe and Margaret, a couple from New York. They're retired. I don't know what that dude did, but he was much smarter with his money than mine, because he's out there buying Rolexes and all kinds of stuff. I haven't worked up to that. He's a few rungs up the economic ladder than I am, but such a cool, down-to-earth guy. And you know, he's talking about buying $20,000 Rolexes and stuff, and I think he did get something like that on the island. I think that's what he paid, around that. But he's geeking out over the fact that I got a Tudor. He was geeking out over a $1,200 Doxa. You know what I mean? People who love watches. You could be a watch lover. You can be a watch geek without being a watch snob. And when you meet those people, there was another couple we were talking to, Andrew and Penny. He's into watches. Met him at the Breitling store. I don't know. To me, it just starts conversations. You see an interesting thing on someone's wrist. I see an interesting watch. I ask the person about it. And they're like, oh, they tell me about it. And hey, what are you wearing and stuff? And some people say, well, the kind of watch you wear says something about you. I think it does in some ways. It tells if you have taste, or, you know, if you're just going with the trends, or buying a weird Hublot or something because you think that's popular because a social media influencer said it was. I don't know. I guess it does to some extent. But I think there's a way to respect other people's watches and collections and their journey without being a snob. If I see someone wearing a Seiko Speed Timer, I don't look down on them because that's a $700 watch and this is, 8 times that. It's like, cool, I have one of those too, and maybe that's where their journey ends, or maybe they're just starting and they're going to work up to this. Whatever, have a conversation. I had more conversations on the boat about watches than anything else. I wasn't talking about motorcycles all that much. So here's a couple close-up shots while I wrap this up. Said I wasn't going to go 20 minutes, and god damn it, I went 20 friggin' minutes. Absolutely stunning watch. You've probably seen a gazillion videos of Tudors and Black Bays. It is one of the most recognizable watches out there right now. Anybody who's into watches sees this and immediately knows what it is. This is just a newer variant, newer movement, Kosk and Metis certified, 70-hour power reserve, and 43 mil in a really cool color that they brought back. That's the headline here. Absolutely cool banger of a watch. Can't go wrong with a Tudor. So, hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned because we got another one popping today. We got to do a Doxa review. So, that one's a little funnier because I bought it because I was drunk and accidentally bought the wrong model. So, we'll cover that. But anyway, there's the new Tudor Black Bay 68 43 mil in Tudor blue. Absolutely gorgeous. It may not be as stunning visually, and it may not pop as much as the Breitling, but it's got a vibe just as strong, just in a little bit of a different way. Hope you enjoyed.